Good morning, students. This is our next chapter of history for class 10th, the making of a global world. Earlier, we have completed two chapters, and now in the second section, we are having the choices between two chapters. First is the making of a global world, and another is the age of industrialization. So, I am taking this chapter for your next history chapter, and this chapter will be only assessed in your unit examination. For unit 2 it will not come in your board examination. It means in your history for main board you are having only two chapters after the revised syllabus. I hope you all are having the copy of revised syllabus, which I have already given in WhatsApp group, and I also explained the revised syllabus in the videos also. Now, the making of a global world. In this chapter, first of all, we have to understood that what is the term global world is meant for the history purpose. When we talk about the globalization, we often refer to it with the economic system that has emerged since last 50 years or so. But as you will see in this chapter, the making of the global world has a long history of trade, migration of people in search of work, the movement of capital, and much else. As we think about the dramatic and visible signs of global interconnectedness in our lives today, we need to understand the phases through which this world in which we live has emerged. Now, what is the meaning of it? That the author is saying that globalization is directly connected to the economic system of a country, and economic system of the country which has emerged for last 50 years around the world, and how it has held. That when we say globalization, it has held because of so many reasons. That how the tradesmen migrate from one place to another, how the travelers, how the people went from one place to another in search of work, then when they move from one place to another, then the capital is also, it means money is also moved from one place to another, and there are so many things are, you can say, transferred from one place to another. As we think about the dramatic, and you can imagine that at the time, this in this 21st century, even in this epidemic time, for last 4 or 5 months we are at home, but still we are connected, we are coping with the situation very smartly in a very dramatic way. That our studies going continuously, we are becoming the part of the same examination as we have to be engaged if there is no epidemic which are uh, influencing us at present time, but still we are adjusting very smartly, and we are updating ourselves as them as earlier. So it has happened only because of the globalization. Yes, the globalization in technology, that we are connected, we are interconnected with each other, and we are doing our the responsibilities so smartly. Now, although history, you all through the history, human societies have become steadily more interlinked. That if we trace the history, we human became so much interconnected and dependent on each other. We can say that no, we are independent, but still, my dear children, we are interconnected. We can't say that independently we can survive in this society. Anyhow, we depend, either we agree or do not agree, but we are dependent on each other to satisfy, to survive in this society. From ancient time, traveler, trader, priest, and pilgrims traveled vast distances for knowledge, opportunity, and the spiritual fulfillment, or to escape persecution. They carried goods. What they do? They carried goods, money, values, skills, ideas, invention, and even germs and diseases from one place to another. As early as 3000 BCE, an active coastal trade linked with the Indus Valley civilization, the first civilization. With the present day, it is known as West Asia. That earlier, the coastal trade, the trade which is used by the travelers or the traders by the sea routes, was the linked with the so you can say strongly with the Indus Valley civilization, and at present it is linked with the same Indus Valley which is known as the West Asia. For more than millennia, cowries means the seashell. It was used as a currency now than time. that time, and from Maldives found their way to China and East Africa. That they were interconnected from Maldives to China and to East Africa. The long distance spread of disease carrying germs may be traced as far back as the 7th century, and up to the 7th century, not only they spread the currency or the values or the cultural aspect or the goods and services, but the germs also is spreaded by these people. By the 13th century, it had become an unmistakable link, and up to the 13th century, this link developed so much that all the countries became a part of the globalization in terms of economic advancement. Now, after that, when we study the globalization, then the most important thing which comes, that which routes these travelers used to survive their economic condition. So it is known as the silk routes. It is silk routes linked the world. How in ancient history the silk routes joined the various part of the country for the flourish economic advancement. The silk routes are a good example of vibrant pre-modern trade and cultural links between distant parts of the world. This name silk routes points to the importance of westbound Chinese silk cargoes. Along this route, historians have identified several silk routes over land and by sea. It means this silk route is not only on land, but they are the routes of sea also, and these both land and sea routes knitted together vast region of Asia and links Asia with Europe and northern Africa. They are known to have existed since before the Christian era and thrived almost till the 15th century. That up to the 15th century, before the Christian era and up to the 15th century, these silk routes was used by the tradesmen and the people so much. But Chinese pottery also traveled, and with them the Chinese pottery also traveled from one place to another, and the spices and textile from India and the Southeast Asia. In return, precious metals, gold and silver, flowed from Europe to Asia, and in return the Asian countries got the gold and silver coins in the form of currency or the payment. Now, trade and culture exchange always went hand in hand up to the 13th century. We are talking about that not only trade but their cultural exchange also held there. Early Christian missionaries almost certainly traveled this route to Asia, as did early Muslim preachers a few centuries later. Much before all this, Buddhism emerged from Eastern India and spread in several directions through intersecting points on the Silk Roads. That different religion and the religious people also traveled. Their values, their religion reached every nook and corner of the Asia and the other parts of the world. Now, if we are talking about the Silk routes for the culture and the trade also used these silk routes and spread it all over the world, then diseases also. And now we are talking about how the food travels from one place to another. When we trace the history, then with these traders and the people who migrated in search of jobs, the food is also traveled. And in this, the spaghetti and the potato is so common. Food offers many examples of long distance cultural exchange. Traders and travelers introduced new crops to the land they traveled. That when the traders reached to the distant part of the world, they also introduced this different sort of the food items to the people. Even ready food stuff in distant parts of the world might share common origins. Take spaghetti and noodles. It is believed that noodles traveled west from China to become spaghetti. It was believed that this spaghetti or noodles, you can say, traveled west from China to become spaghetti. That it has traveled from west to from China, and after reach there, it has taken the name of spaghetti. Or perhaps Arab trader, or it might be possible. There is no certainty. That's why it has used. It is believed, and perhaps Arab trader took pasta to 5th century Sicily an island now in Italy. Similar foods were also known in India and Japan. So truth about their origin may never be known. So there is no surety that from where the original food items, which was named as a spaghetti noodles, originated. Yet such guesswork suggests the possibility of long distance cultural content even in the pre-modern world. Many of our common foods, such as potatoes, soya, groundnuts, maize, tomatoes, chilies, sweet potatoes, and so on, were not known to our ancestors until about 5 centuries ago. These foods were only introduced in Europe and Asia after Christopher Columbus accidentally discovered the vast continent that would later become known as the Americas. That potatoes, chilies was you can say invented by the invention of the America by the Christopher Columbus. Now it is all about how the food traveled from one place to another. Now here we will use America to describe North America, South America, and the Caribbean. In fact, many of our common foods came from America's original inhabitants, the American Indians. That nowadays, whatever food items we are eating, it has believed that it has come from the American Indians. Now, sometimes the new crops could make the difference between life and death. Europe's poor began to eat better and live longer with the introduction of the humble potato. That in Ireland's poorest peasants became so dependent on potatoes that when disease destroyed the potato crop in the mid 1840s, hundreds of thousands died of starvation. That you can see that when we people become the victim of anything, then it become a cause of ruin in our life. That you can see, take the example that in Europe the poor begin to eat humble potato in a very big amount, that they became dependent of humble potato. And one time, that it is all about 1840 mids, that when this humble potato crops were totally damaged, then thousands of you can say people died because of starvation, that they are so much habitual to eat humble potato and they cannot eat other crops. So here you learn the thing that how in history also it has given the finest example, authentic example, that when human became so much dependent on a thing, that it will be a cause of their ruin also. Now the conquest and disease trade, that how after the inventing silk routes to satisfy trade in terms of globalization of world, how the food traveled from one place to another, how now disease and trade at the same time spreaded around the world, and how the people come over from this disease. The pre-modern world shrank greatly in the 16th century after European sailors found a sea route to Asia and also successfully crossed the western ocean to America. For centuries before, the Indian Ocean had known a bustling trade with goods, people, knowledge, custom, etc., crisscrossing its water. The Indian subcontinent was central of these flows and a crucial point in their network. The entry of the Europeans helped expand or redirect some of the flows towards Europe. Now, that before its discovery, America had been cut off from regular contact with the rest of the world for millions of years. But from the 16th century, its vast land and abundant crops and minerals began to transform trade and lives everywhere. That as Columbus discovered the America, before the discovery of America, it was an isolated place. So when it was discovered, then it was full of so many, you can say, resources, and especially abundant crops and minerals was there. And after you can say discovery of America, these both resources were began to transform in trade and lives everywhere. Now that precious metals, particularly silver, from mines located in present day Peru, and Mexico also enhanced Europe's wealth and financed its trade with Asia. Legend spreads in 17th century Europe about South America's fabled with wealth. Many expeditions set off in search of El Dorado, the fabled city of gold. The Portuguese and Spanish conquest and colonization of America was decisively underway by the mid 16th century. European conquest was not just a result of superior firepower. In fact, the most powerful weapon of the Spanish conquerors was not a conventional military weapon at all. It was the germs, such as those of smallpox, that they carried on their person. Now you can link this situation with the present day, as we are the most of the developed nation and the developing nation suffering with the epidemic corona nowadays, and we all know from where it has reached in the different part of the world, and we all are not having, even after passing fifth months, no country has come up with the vaccination. So at the same in history also, who has used the most powerful weapon of the Spanish conqueror, the Spain has used the smallpox as a powerful weapon to win the America. And because of their long isolation, and as before the discovery of America, it was an isolated place. So the people of America, after discovery of America, they were not so much developed. They were not, you can say, having the development and advancement in their medical as well as their economic field. That's why the Spanish people used the infectional disease smallpox to conquer the America and to win the Americans people. And America original inhabitants had no immunity against this disease, and as we around the world, nobody is having the immunity power so strong so that we can control the death because of the corona right now. So earlier also in history also, you can see that how the Spanish people used smallpox as a disease, as a killer disease, which cannot be, you can say, medically treated by the Americans, and so many thousands of Americans has to be the part of death. Smallpox in particular proved a deadly killer. Once introduced, its spread deep into the continent, ahead even of any Europeans reaching there. It killed and decimated whole communities in America, paving the way for conquest. And in this manner, the Spanish people, you can say, made their way for victory over America. So it is all about today's lecture. We have completed the chapter and the headings, that the making of a global world, what is all about the pre-modern world in history. Then we have talked about the silk routes, the importance and the role of silk routes in the globalization for trade and advancement in trade and business. Then how the food travels, especially spaghetti and potato, noodles, you can say, noodles and pasta. Then we have talked about the one epidemic also, that how the poor of Europe was so habitual to eat humble potato, and during 1840 how they thousands of died because of the crop failure of humble potato. Then we have discussed about the conquest and disease and trade, how the Spanish people used their epidemic, their infectional disease smallpox in America, and how they won the area of America just by not any weapon or military weapon. They used the smallpox as a killer or disease, deadly killer disease, and it is all about how they flourished there, how they used their resources. America was so much powerful in you can say in the resources like minerals and the other resources, and how the Spanish people used its resources to flourish their trade worldwide and satisfy their economic advancement. We will continue the chapter in further video. Till then, do your daily homework, see the videos properly, and read with the help of NCERT, because in NCERT you will be having the authentic answer, and if you will read in the so called refresher and the guides, then you will be having the improper answer, and in examination your marks will be deducted. Thank you.